The man in the red circle, shooting at the police, used to be a fellow officer of the law. Domestic abuse and led to a mass shooting. The case of Sergeant John Snowling. A 59-year-old retired sergeant opened fire at a biker bar, targeting his wife. A respectable family with a hero firefighter of a son fell apart without warning. But why did the family man take part in the mass shooting at the diner? Today, we are going to talk about the shootout at Cook's Corner and the perpetrator involved in the shooting, John Snowling. Marie was a regular at Cook's Corner, a bar frequented by bikers on Santiago Canyon Road in the Trabuco Canyon. It was also a family dining spot. Her favorite was the all-you-can-eat pasta for $8 called Spaghetti Night, which Marie never missed. August 23rd, 2023, Wednesday night, she was off to her favorite place. Meeting her friend Tanya, she ordered the all-you-could-eat spaghetti. The M Street Band was playing live at the diner. Bass player Dave Stretch recalls seeing Snowling walk into the bar, almost like the beginning of a terrible joke. Around 7 p.m., Marie was sitting with a friend when she was surprised to see Snowling approach her. He lived about 2,000 miles from Orange County, and the two hadn't spoken beforehand. What really looked threatening was the fact that he was holding a gun in each hand, armed with a revolver and a pistol. Without a word or a greeting, he opened fire. He shot Marie in her lower jaw. Despite being shot at, her friend managed to run outside, but collapsed eventually from her injuries. According to Dave, the entire thing was surreal, and he didn't have time to react until he felt a sharp pain in his hip from being shot at.
So he walked in from stage left, back to the band, basically just started two pistol in each hand shooting. And then I feel this, like somebody punches me in the hip, and I knew exactly at that moment what had happened and like full on what this was.
Snowling managed to shoot 9 people in total, who were taken to different hospitals for first aid. Unfortunately, 3 of the victims died. One employee at the bar, who was 5 months pregnant at the time, begged him not to kill her, telling him she was pregnant. Surprisingly, Snowling acknowledged that and spared her, which shows there was some sort of compassion left. He hadn't completely lost his mind. Snowling returned to his truck and retrieved a shotgun and another pistol, where he was stopped by a man in the parking lot, whom he shot fatally. Officers on the scene were engaged in gunfire by Snowling, who refused to surrender and fired at least 75 rounds.
Shots fired! I got it. 457 shots fired.
He died in the shootout. The 3 who were gunned down were identified as Tanya Clark, 49, of Scottsdale, Arizona, sitting with Marie; John Leahy, 67, of Irvine; and Glenn Sproul Jr., 53, of Stanton. Glenn had attempted to confront Snowling in the parking lot. Marie was taken to UCI Medical Center and miraculously survived being shot in the face, gaining consciousness the next day. William Mosby, who considers Marie his daughter, was watching TV when he heard patrol cars rushing by his house. He saw the news on television, and a friend from the bar called him to break the news of Marie being shot. According to Mosby, Snowling wasn't taking the separation very well and had been upset. But what led to such a major breakdown? Were there any red flags that were ignored? To understand this, first, let's take a look at the gunman, John Snowling. Born on January 15, 1964, to U.S. Navy veteran George Lewis Snowling and Melba Ruth Newman, John Snowling came from a respectable background. Originally from Quincy, Massachusetts, Snowling's family moved to California when his father, who worked for Raytheon, was transferred. In high school, he joined the Sheriff's Explorer program for young adults and joined the Men in Blue at an early age. After graduating from Dos Pueblos High School in 1982, Snowling was enlisted into the Santa Barbara Sheriff's Department as a reserve officer. In 1986, he joined the Ventura Police Department and eventually graduated from California State University with a bachelor's degree in business administration in 1997. His degree came in handy when he was part of Ventura's restorative policing program to find shelter for the homeless. In the early 2000s, Snolling was a mall cop at Pacific View Mall. Ironically, in an interview, he said Ventura wasn't like LA, where there were stabbings or shootings. It was a safe mall. Snolling, who led the Ventura Police Officers Association for several years, was known for going to great lengths to secure favorable deals and benefits for his members. His patrol partner eventually became chief of police. He retired as a sergeant in 2014 with an uneventful career, almost spotless. It wouldn't be fair to chalk it up to PTSD in his line of work. Snolling married Marie, who was 3 years older than him, and they moved into Camarillo City in California on the 9500 block of El Capitan. According to a neighbor who lived next door to the couple, Marie was the stark opposite of Snolling, a friendly woman. She was often seen walking her dog outside. The couple had a son named Patrick and a daughter whose name has been withheld, who often played with the neighbor's children. Snolling struggled with the house's upkeep, and he never had any friends. Incredibly controlling. He didn't like Marie socializing either. Marie kept her head down and lived her life. She is often said to be incredibly friendly, as opposed to her husband. Around 20 years ago, Snolling moved his parents into the house next door. After his mother's passing, he cared for his father, George, who passed away from kidney failure about 18 months ago. The last few years of their marriage had been rough at best. Marie and Snolling finally separated in December 2020 when she found the strength to finally walk out on the relationship following the death of her father-in-law. Recently, John purchased a 7-acre property in Ohio and only returned a few months ago for some house maintenance, while the two remain separated. Marie also relocated to care for her mother. She filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences, according to the records. John Snolling, who had relocated to Newark, Ohio following their separation, was served with the divorce papers in 2022. The couple's divorce attorney, Tristan Tigrone, who represented John, described it as an exceptionally amicable divorce case, in contrast to embittered spouses who often make allegations of or infidelity to gain alimony or property control. The Snollings' divorce lacked any such contentious elements. In fact, Snolling got the family's dog in the divorce. They parted respectfully, losing only each other's company. Marie never sought a restraining order against Snolling to suggest abuse or fear. There wasn't any disagreement on the assets. There was nothing to suggest a conflict or dispute. The assets included were Snolling's pension and real estate, but there was no hurry. Marie was content and didn't demand much. Since their children were adults, there was no problem with gaining custody either. It was an amicable divorce, exemplary and fair, by the book. Snolling seemed to have moved on and started working as a private investigator for Norman A. Traub and Associates in Thousand Oaks. The firm specializes in workplace investigations and pre-employment background checks. Outwardly, the separation made it apparent that the marriage had run its course. However, it is often the case when a police officer is involved. Domestic abuse goes unregistered. Marie posted on Facebook about life after divorce, and the two seemed fine. However, according to some sources, Snolling was resentful and not taking the separation well. He was incredibly controlling and possessive, and losing his wife probably made him feel like he had no more control over his life. Marie moved to Orange County in 2020 when the couple separated. She started looking after her ailing mother, who was admitted to a hospice. After her mother passed, she moved into a trailer park in Orange County. According to her neighbor, she soon became a manager for the park and was the most friendly, kind person in the neighborhood. She would always reply to text messages, and in every conversation, she loved to hear about how the other person was doing. In July 2023, she confessed to a friend, C. Cahill, at a Mission Viejo bar about how she got the strength to leave. It had been hard, but she couldn't take the controlling marriage any longer. The silver lining in her ordeal was the unwavering support of her children, who stood by her decision. While the incident is still under investigation as to what prompted Snolling to kill so many people, officers believe he traveled 2,000 miles from Ohio to California for the sole purpose of killing his wife. The Thursday following the shooting, officers conducted a thorough search of the couple's Camarillo home for any clues, to no avail. Patrick Snowling, the couple's son, works as a firefighter and has been distraught by the entire tragedy. He has a GoFundMe page to help Marie get back to life and cover costs and treatment. So far, over $6,000 has been raised for the $50,000 goal as she recovers from her injuries in the hospital. She is currently being treated at Providence Mission Hospital, Mission Viejo. Marie and John Snowling were scheduled to meet for a divorce settlement in November of 2023. Perhaps the reality of the situation was just setting in, or perhaps he couldn't face his wife. In either case, John Snowling is an example of revenge killing that wrapped up innocent bystanders. It also adds to the statistics of police officers often becoming abusive to their spouses due to PTSD. Either way, the men in blue stick together, and things are often swept under the rug. Maybe Marie tried to get out of the relationship and was unsuccessful. Maybe this was just an extremely abusive man. We will know more once Marie is able to say something on the matter and address it publicly. For more proceedings on this story, stay tuned.